The sun beat down on Willow Creek like it had something to prove. Every lawn a perfect 2-inch carpet of emerald that screamed, "We follow the rules." I stood in the front row of the community center, black dress still smelling of airport coffee and jet lag from Seattle. 10 years away should have armored me for this. But nothing prepares you for becoming an orphan at 28 while your neighbors whisper about covenant violations. Such a tragedy, Mrs. Hargrove murmured behind me, her voice dripping the same fake sympathy she used when she reported my mailbox flag for being 3 inches too patriotic. Dad, Robert Carter, founder and former president of Willow Creek HOA, was only 55. Heart failure, they said. I nodded mechanically, eyes locked on the mahogany casket draped in the American flag he'd fought to keep flying. Beside it stood Karen Whitaker, the new HOA president, dabbing perfectly dry eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. Her son Brandon lounged next to her, scrolling his phone, designer sneakers tapping the tile in boredom. They occupied the family section while I stood alone, the prodigal daughter who dared move out after college. Mr. Grayson, Dad's attorney for 15 years, approached the podium in his wire-rimmed glasses and funeral suit that somehow still smelled like old leather-bound covenants. Before we conclude today's service, he said, voice heavy, Robert requested I share a few matters regarding his estate. Karen straightened like a meerkat spotting a fine. Brandon pocketed his phone. Grayson adjusted his glasses. The Willow Creek townhome, investment accounts, and founding member shares in the HOA Legacy Fund will be divided between his wife Karen Whitaker and her son Brandon. The words landed like a $500 late fee notice. I kept my face neutral. 10 years of HOA fines had taught me that much. I hadn't expected the house. Dad had made his priorities crystal clear the day he chose Karen. But Grayson's tone shifted. He looked straight at me. One final matter concerning Emily Carter. Every head swiveled. My pulse hammered. Robert maintained meticulous records of Emily's upbringing within Willow Creek. According to these documents, the total cost of raising her from birth to 18, community amenities, maintenance contributions, security patrols, and neighborhood standards totals $80,000. The room spun. I heard myself whisper, "What?" before I could stop. Karen's lips curved into the tiniest smile, the one she reserved for when she issued violation notices at 6 a.m. Parents, well, the HOA family, teach accountability. Dear, she cooed, voice sugar-coated poison. Robert believed in it deeply. Tyler, wait. Brandon snorted. Maybe if you hadn't run off after high school. I was 8 when Mom left the neighborhood. I didn't choose the split. Grayson cleared his throat. Perhaps we discuss this privately. No, Karen interrupted smoothly. Robert wanted transparency. You'll receive formal notice with payment terms. Emily, 5 years. Standard interest. Of course you could contest, but the records are impeccable. I stared at the casket. Dad's final betrayal crushing whatever grief I'd scraped together. As Grayson gathered papers, one sheet fluttered to the floor near my feet. I bent, and my blood turned to ice. The raising costs were itemized in Dad's handwriting, but every withdrawal traced back to the legacy education and home fund, Dad's trust for my future repairs and education, managed by Karen as trustee. The dates matched perfectly with Brandon's 4 years at Berkeley and the illegal 2-story addition on Karen's house that somehow never got fined. I handed the sheet back. Grayson's eyes met mine for a split second. Discomfort, doubt, recognition. As neighbors dispersed, whispering about this shocking revelation, Karen passed me with a soft smile. 5 years. Dear, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Brandon trailed behind, smirking. That night in my hotel room, still inside the gates because Karen controlled the only decent Airbnb. I couldn't sleep. Instead, I pieced together the fragments of a childhood policed by covenants. The divorce hit when I was 8. Mom got primary custody and fled to Seattle. Dad kept the house and weekends for 2 years. He'd pick me up in his BMW, take me for ice cream, promise I'd run the HOA better than him someday. Then Karen arrived, blonde, calculated, always in pastels that whispered money. Within 6 months, she'd moved in with 13-year-old Brandon. My purple bedroom became Brandon's music studio. My things were boxed in the garage. Emily only visits 2 days a month, Karen had smiled. Brandon needs space for his talent. Dad never fought. Weekend visits turned torture. Karen would comment on my clothes, so casual for covenant standards, my grades, only an A-, and Mom's teacher salary. Brandon blasted music during my study time, accidentally deleted my homework, mocked my secondhand bike. By 14, I stopped coming. Dad's calls dwindled to birthday cards with shrinking checks. College acceptance to Boston University, Dad's alma mater, brought one bright moment. "We'll celebrate," he said. The dinner never happened. In his office, Karen present, he explained college was a privilege. Young people learn value through hard work. Brandon got the trust money instead. I left destroyed but determined. Loans, 3 jobs, ramen nights. Graduated summa cum laude in accounting. Last conversation 2 years ago. I called about my promotion. Karen answered. David, Robert, is busy with Brandon's graduation. The cruelty still burned. Now, staring at my laptop, $67,000 in student loans and $3,200 in savings. The math was laughable, but that paper nagged. I dug up Dad's old email. 5 years ago, he'd established the legacy fund for me. Karen as trustee. I never saw a dime. The $80,000 debt matched exactly what 4 years at Berkeley plus the illegal edition would cost. Karen had stolen my fund, laundered it through community projects, and now wanted me to pay the HOA back for it. Tomorrow I'd see Grayson. Tonight the rage hardened into steel. They thought I'd crumble. They had no idea who they were dealing with. The law offices of Grayson and Associates smelled of dark wood and old money, the same scent as the community center. I arrived at 8 a.m. sharp, before Karen could spin the narrative in the HOA newsletter. Grayson's secretary looked surprised, but waved me in. "I wonder if you'd come," he said, gesturing to the chair. "I need everything," I said, skipping pleasantries. "Every document, every transfer, every signature." He studied me, then slid a thick folder across the oak desk. "Your father was meticulous, perhaps too much so." He spread the papers. The supposed raising costs were documented, but the real story hid in the bank statements. 5 years ago, Dad created the legacy fund, $80,000, sole beneficiary me, Karen trustee. Distributions? Every semester, $20,000 wired to Berkeley, then to a contractor for Karen's illegal second story. "These withdrawal forms," I said, finger trembling, "have my signature." Grayson leaned in. "Do they?" The J was too flourished. The M compressed. I'd signed 1,000 firm documents. I knew my hand. "She forged them." "That's a serious allegation," he replied carefully, already pulling another folder. "Which is why these interest me." Email printouts, dozens, from Jamie Legacy Fund at willowcreek.com. But it wasn't mine. Messages thanking Dad for my Berkeley progress, discussing my music production courses. I'd been at Boston University studying accounting. "I've never seen these." Grayson nodded. "Your father wasn't tech savvy. When emails arrived from what looked like your address, he believed them. Karen sent them." He pointed to metadata, all from the same IP at Dad's house, proving it requires subpoenas. "But I anticipated your visit. I copied everything, including timestamps." I scanned the trust again. Withdrawals required 2 signatures, trustee and witness. Brandon's name appeared on everyone. He was 18 when the first happened. He knew. I whispered. Grayson removed his glasses. The debt document is weak. Signed 2 weeks before Robert's death while he was heavily medicated for heart failure. Undue influence. Diminished capacity. But Karen counts on you being broke and alone. His voice darkened. Fraud over $50,000 in an HOA-managed trust is federal. Embezzlement of community funds. I'll testify if subpoenaed. Attorney-client privilege died with your father. Why help me? I asked. Your father was weak, easily influenced, but not cruel. This debt, these forgeries, that wasn't him. I believe in his final weeks, Karen manipulated a dying man to cover her tracks. He handed me the stack. She thinks she's untouchable. She doesn't know you have these. She doesn't know I'm willing to burn my own reputation for justice. My phone buzzed as I left. Karen, Emily dear, we should discuss payment arrangements. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. at the house. Family business. I texted back, looking forward to it. The Whitaker house, formerly Dad's, looked exactly as I remembered. Georgian colonial whispering old money and newer violations. Karen opened before I knocked. Air kissed my cheek. Perfume cloying. Prompt as always. Brandon's here too. The HOA family should handle this together. Don't you think? The living room had been redecorated. Dad's leather chairs replaced by stark modern pieces that screamed, I control the architectural review board. Brandon lounged on the white sofa. Sneakers on a glass table. Hey, stepsis. Tough break about the debt. But hey, we all pay our way, right? I stayed standing. Let's talk about paying our way. Like how the legacy fund paid for Berkeley and your illegal edition. Karen's smile tightened. Brandon earned his place. The fund was redirected when you distanced yourself from the community. I was 18, attending Boston University, exactly as planned. I pulled my phone. Screenshots of forged emails. I never sent these. IP addresses traced to this house. Grayson documented it. Silence stretched like a covenant violation notice. Brandon's feet hit the floor. Karen laughed. Brittle. Still telling stories. Your father explained years ago. Explained how you forged my signature while he was medicated. My voice stayed even. How you created fake emails. How every penny meant for my future went to your son. You ungrateful. Karen caught herself, smoothing her skirt. Brandon, call our attorney. Wait, Brandon said, voice cracking. Mom, what's she talking about? Karen ignored him. You're grieving, Emily. If you pursue this fantasy, the entire neighborhood will hear how Robert's daughter abandoned him, then swooped in like a vulture. I have connections, local paper, HOA Facebook group. By the time I'm done, you won't get a job mowing lawns. I smile for the first time. Go ahead. I'll tell them how you embezzled HOA funds. How forgery and wire fraud over $50,000 is federal. The FBI doesn't care about your newsletter. Karen sank onto the sofa. What do you want? Drop the debt. Return the $80,000. Resign from the board. I can't return money already spent. Then explain that to federal prosecutors. I'm filing Monday. As I reached the door, she hissed. Your father would be ashamed. I turned. Dad was ashamed of himself. That's why his heart gave out at 55. You didn't just steal my money. Karen, you stole his integrity. And that killed him faster than any disease. I walked out lighter with every step. The war wasn't over, but the first battle was mine. Back in my own house, still inside the gates, my phone rang. Unknown number. Don't hang up, Brandon's voice strained. Mom doesn't know I'm calling. I found Dad's unsent letter. There's more. So much more. Brandon's voice cracked over the line like a poorly installed fence post. I found it hidden in Dad's study. Letter dated 2 weeks before he died. He was terrified. Mom controlled his meds, his meals, who he saw. She made him sign the debt document by threatening to ruin his reputation as founder. I gripped the phone. You witnessed every withdrawal. You're an accomplice. I was 18 and stupid. She told me it was family investments. After you left yesterday, I searched her files. She's been fabricating raising cost records for 5 years. She knew Dad was sick long before anyone. There's a safety deposit box, Bank of America, downtown, box 472. Dad gave me the key the day before he died. Promised to get it to you if anything happened. It's magnetic under the mailbox at the house. Mom's at book club until 10. Get it tonight. Why help me now? A long pause. Because I heard him crying, begging her not to make him sign. She said if he didn't, she'd tell everyone he was an alcoholic who abandoned his daughter. He didn't deserve to die scared and alone. Maybe I don't deserve a pass, just because she's my mom. The line went dead. Sarah, my old roommate now at Wells Fargo Fraud Division, met me at a coffee shop outside the gates. You look like you've been cited for improper mulch, she said, hugging me. I spread the documents. Her eyes widened at the signatures. These aren't even good forgeries. Pressure points, completely different. Over 3 hours, she built a forensic timeline. Every withdrawal matched tuition and the contractor for Karen's edition. Same day. Same amount. She kept withdrawals under $10,000 to dodge federal reporting. Classic embezzlement. Then Sarah frowned at her laptop. There's more. Your father's life insurance beneficiary changed 6 weeks before death to Karen and Brandon. Original beneficiary was you, $500,000. Signature looks shaky. Nothing like his usual scrawl. He was on heart meds. Hands trembled constantly. My stomach dropped. Another theft. An email pinged. You should see this. Attachment. Dad's unsent letter. My dear Emily, the medication makes everything foggy, but some truths cut through. I failed you. Martha, Karen, has shown me documents saying you received the fund. But I know you worked 3 jobs. The debt document is wrong. Parents don't charge children for love. I won't sign it. I'm scared. She controls everything. If something happens, look into the trust. Trust Grayson. I love you. Always did. Dad, Sarah checked headers. Sent from inside the house 3 hours ago. Brandon. My phone rang again. There's recordings in the box. Mom threatening him. Medical records showing dangerous med interactions. A journal. 5 years of manipulation. Get the key tonight. We're calling the police the moment you have it. This isn't civil anymore. This is criminal, elder abuse, coercion, maybe worse. We drove back under cover of darkness. The magnetic key holder was exactly where he said. Inside the box, recordings on an old phone, original trust papers, medical records proving Karen increased Dad's dosage without doctor approval, and the journal detailing every forged email, every fake expense. Dad had fought back in the only way he could, quietly, terrified, but preserving truth. By morning, Sarah had looped in the district attorney. Fraud over $50,000 in HOA funds triggers federal interest. At forgery, wire fraud, elder financial abuse. We're opening a case. Karen struck first. By noon, every mailbox had a bright yellow delinquent account notice with my name and the $80,000 debt. The HOA Facebook group exploded. How could she do this to the founder's memory? Karen posted a tearful video. We all loved Robert. Some people just refuse accountability. Neighbors who once waved now avoided my eyes. Fines started rolling in. $254 lawn height infraction. My grass was exactly 2 inches. $500 for political expression. My American flag was 3 inches too tall. Same one Dad flew. I stayed silent, recording every meeting, every notice. I watched Karen at the emergency board session she called, smiling in her pastel blazer. The covenants are clear. Dear neighbors, We must protect property values. Her eyes flicked to me with triumph. She had no idea the folder in my bag contained enough to bury her empire. The emergency HOA meeting packed the community center tighter than a covenant violation hearing. Karen stood at the podium in widow's black that somehow looked designer, tissue in hand. This is a simple matter of a bitter daughter attempting to extort the community that raised her, she began, voice trembling with practiced grief. Emily abandoned her father for a decade, then returned with wild accusations after his death. I sat in the back row, phone recording discreetly. Grayson, now my counsel, rose calmly. Objection. The board is not a court. These are criminal allegations. But Karen's allies on the board nodded like bobbleheads. Then the district attorney's representative, Diana Chun, stepped forward, young, sharp, personally invested after reviewing the safety deposit evidence. She presented methodically, forged signatures confirmed by handwriting expert, fake emails traced by digital forensics to Karen's laptop, trust fund ledgers showing every dollar diverted to Brandon's tuition and the illegal addition. Family decisions don't require forged signatures and fake email accounts, Diana said coolly. This is embezzlement of HOA-managed funds. Karen took the stand, dabbing eyes. Emily was hostile from day one. Robert tried everything, but she rejected the community. The fund was redirected because she abandoned us. We couldn't let it go to waste, so it supported Brandon, who Robert considered a son. Diana smiled. So you gave it to your biological son instead, while forging the beneficiary signature. The handwriting expert's charts flashed on the projector. Gasps rippled. Karen's lawyer objected repeatedly, but the evidence stuck like dried mulch. Then the moment the room froze. The board calls Brandon Whitaker. Karen went rigid. This wasn't on her script. Brandon took the stand, avoiding his mother's stare. Karen's lawyer approached confidently. Mr. Whitaker, do you support your mother's position? Long silence. Then no. The center erupted. Karen shrieked. Brandon, Judge Harrison, presiding because the DA had fast-tracked the civil portion, banged the gavel. Control yourself, Mrs. Whitaker, or you'll be removed. Brandon's voice strengthened. My mother stole Emily's fund. I helped her. I signed the witness forms, but I didn't understand until now. She made me. She practiced Emily's signature at the kitchen table. I saw her create those fake emails. 2 weeks before Dad died, she increased his heart medication. She said the doctor approved it. I checked. He didn't. Dad was confused. Weak. He cried. Begged her to stop. She threatened to destroy his legacy if he didn't sign the debt document. Karen screamed again. The bailiff moved in. As she was escorted out, still shouting, Brandon looked at me for the first time. I'm sorry, Emily. I was young and selfish. I let her convince me you were the enemy. But Dad loved you. Even drugged. He called you his little genius. He never stopped. The rest of the hearing collapsed quickly. Brandon's testimony. The medical examiner confirming dangerous medication levels consistent with intentional overdose. The recordings from the box, everything damning. Karen's defense tried to paint Brandon as unstable, but he stayed steady, providing dates, documents, even secret phone recordings he'd made. Judge Harrison's voice cut like a freshly mowed lawn. Mrs. Whitaker, this board and this court finds you guilty of forgery, fraud, embezzlement of HOA funds, elder abuse, and manslaughter through medical negligence. The debt claim is void. You're ordered to repay $80,000 plus $50,000 damages immediately. All fraudulent beneficiary changes are reversed. The board recommends immediate removal from presidency and criminal prosecution. Karen collapsed. No longer the pastel queen, but a broken woman in handcuffs facing prison. 6 weeks later in federal court, Karen stood in an orange jumpsuit. The same woman who once fined me for excessive holiday lights. The judge read the sentence. 8 years for fraud and embezzlement. 3 for elder abuse. 5 for involuntary manslaughter, concurrent. Total 8 years with parole possible after 5. Her plea deal required full restitution. The house, my grandmother's before Karen stole it, would sell. Every account, every piece of jewelry, every illegal addition torn down to pay back what she took. I sat in the gallery holding a cashier's check for $130,000, the fund plus damages. Karen's lawyer handed it over with another envelope, the restored $500,000 life insurance. My hand shook. Years of ramen and 3 jobs. And suddenly, I held more than I'd ever dreamed. Brandon found me outside, looking healthier after 30 days of real rehab. I'm enrolling in community college, accounting, actually. Figured I should learn how money works instead of how to steal it. He handed me a folder. Found these in Mom's safe. Dad kept them. Inside, photos of me and Dad, first day of school, science fairs, college acceptance. In every one his pride glowed. The last was a letter dated my graduation day he never sent. You did it all without me, which makes me both proud and ashamed. I failed you through lack of courage. I chose the easy path of avoiding conflict. Every success you achieve, you carry my love. Tears finally came, not for money, but for the father I lost twice. Brandon sat beside me. I'll stand by you publicly. Tell anyone who asks the truth. It's the least I can do. That evening, I signed papers transferring the house back to me. Grayson smiled. What will you do with it? Sell it. Too many ghosts. But first, I pulled my checkbook. I want to establish the David Carter Second Chances Fund for students whose HOA families failed them. $100,000 seed money. Everyone deserves a second chance, even if they die before they can take it. Grayson nodded. You have liked that. 6 months later, I stood at Fairview Cemetery, spring flowers in hand. Dad's simple headstone gleamed under the sun. Hey, Dad. News. I paid off my student loans yesterday, all $67,000. For the first time in 10 years, I can breathe. The fund already helped 12 students. 1. Maria. Remind me of me. 3 jobs. Accounting. No support. She cried when she got the scholarship. A cardinal landed on the stone, bright red against gray. Brandon's doing well. Straight A's. Volunteers with the fund. He even visited Karen last week. Told her he forgave her, but wouldn't forget. She's got 7 more years to think. I pulled out Dad's last unsent letter. I forgive you. Not for Karen. She made her choices. But for being weak. For choosing peace over truth. You love me the only way you knew how. The cardinal chirped as if answering. I met someone. James, a teacher. Kind. Nothing like the men in our family. He knows the whole story and doesn't care about the money or the drama. Standing, I brush my skirt. Funny thing, Karen thought she won by taking everything. But she taught me what doesn't kill you doesn't just make you stronger. It makes you smarter. Every fine, every 3-job shift, every skipped meal prepared me for the fight. You were right. Dad, I survived. And I built something better from the ashes. I walked to my modest Honda, some habits die hard, phone buzzing with a photo from the latest scholarship ceremony. Brandon's text, this is Dad's real legacy now. Not the money Karen stole, but what you built. Driving away. NPR played a story on elder financial abuse. I turned it off. I'd lived it. My reflection in the rear view wasn't the scared girl at the funeral. She was someone new, someone who took Karen's weapons and turned them into tools for building. The $80,000 debt Karen tried to bury me under became $130,000 in my account. The relationship she destroyed was rebuilt through hidden letters and photos. The son she corrupted was finding redemption. The man she manipulated to death had his memory honored in every scholarship granted. I smiled at James on the phone. I'll be home in 20. Visited Dad. It was good. As I drove past the Willow Creek gates for the last time, I realized the sweetest justice wasn't the prison time or the money. It was knowing Karen's greatest failure was underestimating the quiet daughter who'd learned patience from 1,000 petty fines. She tried to mortgage my future for 80 grand. Instead, she taught me my worth was immeasurable, and that was a debt I'd never have to repay. Thank you for listening to my story. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop a comment. If this HOA Karen tale hit home, hit subscribe and share your own neighborhood nightmares. Let's keep exposing them together.